Okay, the Board of Trustees will reconvene in open session, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Will you all please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our moment of silence this evening, I would like to refer to what is happening here in our great state up in the north. And we are so many of the families who are facing devastation and burned homes. And luckily, so far, really no one has died, as I understand, but we've had a lot of injuries. And we have to be aware that we're in different times, climate-wise, and we can all help by trying to conserve and be aware of what is going on. But keep them in your minds, because there's hundreds of people who have lost their homes, and it's a rough time. Okay, and now we will have the closed session report from the clerk of the board.
4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation, superintendent. 4.2, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. 4.3, no reportable action taken regarding personnel. 4.4, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to make the following appointment. Leanna Williams, Director, Risk Management and Insurance. 4.5, the Board of Trustees, by a vote of 5-0, approved the settlement agreement in OAH, case number 2021-060909, resolving all issues in students' due process complaint by amending students' IEP, providing supplemental education, and providing reimbursement in the amount of $5,500. 4.6, the Board of Trustees, by a vote of 5-0, approved the settlement agreement with student, amending student's IEP, and providing reimbursements in the amount of $3,000.
Thank you. Now, the Board of Trustees would also like to recognize our community stakeholders for your interest in the Anaheim Union High School District and for your attending our board meeting. We thank you so much to each of you for your participation and your contribution as we create an educational environment that graduates socially aware, civic-minded students who are college and career ready for the 21st century. And our guests tonight include our new student representative to the board who will take his seat next month, Abdullah Fadhadi. Would you like to stand, Abdullah, and say hello? There you go. Next month, he will be on the dais with us. Okay. And also, we have Grant Schuster in the audience, our ASTA president. Grant, are you there? You are? Okay. Hilda Vasquez, our ALTA president. That's our Anaheim leadership team. Thank you, Hilda. And I'm looking to see if we have any other representatives.
Gail.
APGA. Okay.
Is that Sylvia?
Is that Sylvia? All right, Sylvia. Yes, hi, I'm sorry.
Gail.
See, now, you got to stand up more often. I can't see you. No, thank you.
Gail Kyrus from ROP.
And Gail Kyrus from ROP. Hi, Gail. I guess I should have roamed around the room a little bit more before I sat down so I could recognize people. Okay, and one other person I would like to introduce now is we have a new employee who is with us this evening, who's going to be starting real soon. We had an opening for a risk manager, and we have finalized and hired Leanna Rose Williams. Hey, Leanna. Stand up. Please come up to the podium, and if you have some introductions of family with you and comments.
Good evening. Yes, Leanna Rose Williams. I'd like to thank the board, President Percy, the Board of Trustees for this opportunity to serve the district, the students, and its community. And I'm eager and excited to be a partner with the district in helping it fulfill its mission. So thank you very much for having me. With me this evening, I do have my husband, Kevin.
Raise your hand, Kevin. There you go. All right.
And our baby girl, Malia.
All right. Well, welcome aboard. We got lots of work for you.
I'm ready to hit the ground running. So thank you very much.
It's a new year. We're starting out, and in light of what we've been going through the last 18 months, we have a lot of work on our hands.
I bet.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay. Next, we will have the reports of the associations. So we'll start with ASTA. Grant Schuster, you have a report for us?
I do. President Piercy and trustees, cabinet, just wanted to give a report as to ASTA, the teachers, and the progress here at the beginning of the year. I can tell you, traveling around to the different sites this week, all there has been on campuses is excitement and joy. I think sometimes people forget that there is nothing more that teachers love about their job than being in a classroom with students. And the more difficult or the mundane or some of the annoying parts of their job is what was added on during the pandemic and when we went to distance learning, had to go to distance learning, and to get back in the classroom and just be with students. It has been phenomenal to go around to campuses and see teachers and see students and the joy on their faces and how happy they are to be back together. We also had last week, the district brought back after several years, the week of welcome, and to see over 100 new teachers and other staff together, learning about what our mission is and what we do in this district, and also how we work together. You know, there's not many districts where the first morning that teachers are here at a district being introduced, that a teachers union president is brought up to talk to them before they're introduced to the superintendent. And that sort of gesture to say we're all in this together, I still know of districts in this county that superintendents, that board members, they don't even speak with their union leadership. And when they do, it's in negotiations and it's over, debates and quarrels. It's not about working together. And that is something that we're continuing to do here. And it is greatly appreciated by everyone, by the employees, by the students and their families, the way we work together to solve any issues that we're going to face. I think it's also important to acknowledge that we are in a situation in this country where it's not as bad as it is in other places, but we know that if we had had the original a tiering system, if it was 12 months ago, we'd be in the middle of the purple tier and not allowed to open. But because of the vaccine, because of the progress we have made and the protocols we have put in place, the HVAC systems we've put in, the purification systems we've put in every room, we were able to do that, but we've got to make sure that we're following the protocols. We've got to make sure that everyone is doing everything they can on campuses to keep our students, our teachers, our employees, to keep everybody safe. So it's really just incumbent upon all of us to make sure. It was easy to get lax over the summer. I got lax over the summer. We got vaccinated, the numbers went down, but now they're going back up, and those that are unvaccinated are most likely to be our students. And we need to make sure that we're protecting them. So I ask everybody, whether they're in the district office, the teachers, the other employees, the students, we need to make sure we're following these protocols because they were put in place to keep us as safe as we possibly can be, and they will do that if we are following them. Also, I wanted to point out that a lot of people have been asking questions about the mandate that the governor put out yesterday, and we had already been talking about it with cabinet members as an association that we wanted to implement that in our district before the governor even suggested it. This is something that should be done. Vaccination and testing is so important to make sure that we keep everyone safe and we're able to do all of these things we're so excited to do this year with our students now that we're back in person. So we look forward. I know I've already spoken with Carlos Hernandez. I've spoken with Nancy about how we can expand. We know that in mid-October, it's going to be time that every school employee is either going to have to be tested or show that they have their vaccination. Well, let's start now. Let's get those testing facilities up and running. Let's offer the vaccines. Let's publicize it in the daily news reports, news announcements on school campuses, any way we can to get people out here and make sure that we are vaccinated, that we're testing, and that everyone is safe so we can focus on all of these exciting things that we want to do. One other thing that I wanted to mention about what ASTA is doing, we've started our community school meetings with stakeholders from community groups, parents, teachers. We have the community school coordinators as part of it, and it's just phenomenal to already, we have the steering committee up. We're going to start with the individual site committees and be able to come and present to the board. What is it that all the stakeholders, kind of like a mini LCAP when dealing with community schools specifically, what is it that each community working together has developed as a plan for what they want to see in a community school in their neighborhood? The needs of Western High School may not be the same as the needs of South Junior High. And what are those parents and community groups and students and teachers coming up with that will best support them as the community schools continue to develop? And we know there's going to be a lot of money coming in very soon from the state to support these programs, and we want to make sure we have all of the stakeholders in place giving input and making sure that these community schools, outlast all of us, that we set up a process where the community will be so just bought into public schools and the community schools that this will go on, year after year. And then finally, the last thing I wanted to mention is that, look, from the superintendent through the cabinet, the district office, the teachers at the school sites, all of the support staff, we have so many things that we want to do. But right now, all of our plates are full. We're planning to be there to support kids from before school, our classes at lunchtime, after school. There are teachers already working on extra programs, extra service programs, clubs. We're there to do what we can for the students every single day. And so as we move forward this year, I just want everyone to realize that any sort of new training or new program or new responsibility, we have to weigh that and realize if we're going to implement anything, we need to pull something else away. There's just not any time left. And so if anything new is brought up and implemented that requires, a couple of hours of training or requires time each week, that it's going to come from somewhere else. And we don't want it to come from the in-person time that you can have with students before or after school to support all of their needs. That is the top priority that we have to make sure that all of these students are getting their needs addressed when they come back to school this year, and we're building those relationships that can do that. So I appreciate your time tonight. We're so excited to be back. You almost forget, and you come back 18 months later and just see how excited, even through the masks, how excited every teacher and student is to be back on campus and be back with each other to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. All right. Our next one, APGA. Sylvia, do you have a report? And I apologize again for not recognizing you, but
Oh,
these
that's okay.
masks don't help.
That's okay, and I'm sure, I was sitting in the back, you probably couldn't see my face. Good evening, trustees, district cabinet, AUHSD students, families, and community members. I am honored to speak on behalf of APGA. First, I would like to let you know that I will be sharing this position with Mrs. Natalie Saldivar, who is not here with us tonight, but will represent APGA at our next board meeting. Counselors have been back since July, prepping for the return of our students, and I can say the first day of school was a success. Since we are starting a new year, I thought it would be good to remind everyone the role the school counselor plays. School counselors design and deliver school counseling programs that improve student outcomes. They lead, advocate, and collaborate to promote equity and access for all students by connecting their school counseling program to the school's academic mission and school improvement plan. School counselors work to support students in the following domains: academic, college career, and social emotional. School counselors work to create a future where all students thrive. Here are just some of the things that we do in each domain. Under academic, scheduling of all students, including new students, ensuring proper placement, A through G, and career pathway. Graduation checks, transcript evaluations, academic honors and Golden State Seal for graduation, signing students up for credit recovery and summer school, ROP recruitment and signups, dual enrollment recruitment and signups, Puente counselor recruit and support the program, EL coordinator, CELA by literacy, AP testing, PSAT, IEPs, 504s, 6-year academic plans, goal setting, parent-teacher conferences, at-risk meetings, graduation, support transition to junior high and high school events, and a classroom lesson that supports academics. And the college and career domain, college and career fair, career exploration, college systems awareness, the TGR Foundation program and classes, dual enrollment, special admit for community colleges, career pathway, recruitment, retention, and placement, ROP, recruitment, retention, and placement, college applications for 2-year, 4-year, and private, letters of recommendation, financial literacy, financial aid applications, and a classroom lesson on college and career. For the social emotional, we provide crisis support, short-term counseling, risk assessments, well-being plans. We screen students for the district social workers, provide check-ins with students with low risk, provide community resources, help with linkage to outside providers, provide conflict mediation, at-risk meetings, re-entry meetings, and a classroom lesson on social emotional topic. Lastly, I would like to thank the district for providing the funds for a college and career readiness specialist for all of our high schools, and for providing 17 temporary counselors to give our students the extra support they will need this year. It is worth noting that the American School Counselor Association recommends a ratio of 250 students to 1 counselor. It should also be noted that none of our comprehensive sites come close to this recommendation. In addition, there are 2 schools that are truly not getting any extra support this year, and that is South and Sycamore, 2 of our most needy junior highs. These 2 schools have traditionally had 3+ counselors. However, at the end of the 2020 school year, with the school closures and the uncertainty of the economy due to the pandemic, the 3rd counseling position was abruptly cut. They are now staffed at what they were pre-pandemic. I stand up here tonight to advocate for those students, to give them what they deserve. I hope that as a district, we can find the funds to bring back the additional counselor so that those students can get the support they will need. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Hilda Vasquez, ALTA president.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam President Piercy, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, and AUHSD community, students, and parents. It's my pleasure to be up here at the beginning of the school year to talk a little bit about what our schools have been doing, in particular from the perspective of the administrators. So I want to just recap and let you know that summer has come to an end, but it was a super busy and successful summer. So we had a lot of summer programs. And we had also credit recovery. We had programs for students to get involved and reacquainted with the campuses. We also spent quite a bit of time building up the capacity of our student leaders. So our ASBs went to summer camp, and also we have met with the ambassadors, which I am proud, one of the advisors, so yay. So I want to let you know that there's a huge focus, right, to continue supporting students' wellness, their mental health needs, and also making sure that we value their student voice and choice instructionally in the classroom. So those have been some of the topics, and through student activities, how could we be intentional about building those things that we're talking about in terms of community and making sure that students feel like they belong. So a lot has gone into that. Also, this year we had 4 teacher days in which we focus again, as Mr. Schuster talked about, wellness not only for our students but also for our staff. We had a great presentation put on by the team here at the district level so that we can talk about wellness, self-care, and also some strategies dealing with trauma in the classroom and also personally at home, right? Everyone has a different story. We want to honor and validate that, but we also want to prepare for what comes into the classroom. Additionally, we are also building our skill set in E-cadence and also making sure that we're following all our safety protocols. So great days, and also many of you stopped by school sites. I had Mr. O'Neill at mine and Mr. Cologne and Dr. Freed. So thank you so much for taking the time to come. I hope it was electric and energetic for you. It was super excited for us, and it was great to see just kids wanting to be kids, right? And hanging out with each other, lots of energy. And so we had a great care opening at all sides. Maybe you saw cheerleaders and sports teams. Our art side particularly, we also had clubs and organizations. And I want to highlight Link Crew because every high school has Link Crew. And this year, they really have taken 9th and 10th graders and done a lot of activities and a lot of preview days to make sure that students get to come back to campus and their anxiety level is lower. Also, we've made the recommendation of not assigning homework, right? We're really talking to our teachers about making sure that, hey, these first 2 weeks easing back and making sure that the workload is also appropriate and to think about that for the rest of the year. Also, let me see, we're very excited about the in-person instruction. We've been visiting classrooms. I thought I was going to be late because I was over at the football game today, so it was really exciting to see the team play out there. So again, people are getting involved out and about. And we're building lots of relationships. And so with that, I just want to thank you for all your support. It has been a great first week, almost Friday tomorrow. I'm going to have to say go Big Blue. I don't know, I see the trifecta of Western prior principals here. And again, I just want to thank you for your support, and we're having a great time. And thank you for taking time. Oh, Nancy came by too. Dr. Nim came by. So now I have a blue bucket. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Hilda. Okay, I don't see any other representatives of any other association. Did anybody wander in while we were having the reports? Okay. Moving on then, we will, there's no PTSA person here? Okay. We have some presentations this morning. Okay, this evening. Our first presentation is item 7.1, We Rise Together campaign.
Perfect. It gives me a great honor to introduce Mrs. Amy Kwan, who will lead us in this presentation.
Okay.
She is our coordinator of STEAM.
Good evening, AUHSD Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, and the greater AUHSD community. Like Dr. Freed said, my name is Amy Kwan. I'm the coordinator of STEAM, and I would like to share with you the inaugural project of AUHSD's iLab internship experience. In February 2021, the iLab leadership team, composed of Doug Noah, Karen Clark Yamamoto, Ray Solorzano, and Raquel Solorzano-Duenas, selected 18 AUHSD students for an AIM internship and partnered with a company called Manifest 5. Manifest 5 is an LLC that specializes in providing help to businesses in automating their supply chain, finances, and marketing. Manifest 5 and the AIM interns were given the freedom to launch a district-wide campaign to represent the student experience during the pandemic. From this opportunity, the AIM interns initiated the We Rise Together Challenge in order to seek out the many stories of hope and resilience from our students. The vision of iLab is to have a space to nurture staff and student innovation, prepare students for the workforce, specifically to fill the high-paying, high-demand jobs here in Orange County, while instilling in our students the importance of compassion and service to our community.
We want to share that the vision of iLab was implemented long before there was a title or a beautiful space. AUHSD is special in that there's always been a connection to our community. Ray and I are both alumni and had the calling of coming back and teaching in our community. We loved working with this project because Manifest 5 was started by an AUHSD alumni just like us.
We thought it was so cool that the vision of iLab has come full circle in our first iLab project. Dan Taw, an alumnus of Oxford, class of 2018, went to UCI and started his company, Manifest 5, out of UCI's entrepreneurial ecosystem. And he too had the calling of coming back to provide guidance and mentoring to our students and help build the entrepreneurial and innovative ecosystem here at AUHSD.
In January 2021, the iLab leadership team developed a civic engagement lesson regarding the importance of understanding COVID-19, mask mandates, and the vaccine. We developed a 3-day lesson that over 10,636 AUHSD students completed, and our numbers showed in our post-survey data that many of our students wanted to do more with civic engagement. The We Rise Together Challenge was one of the ways that our students could take action from the civic engagement lesson. We ended up having 60 finalists, and we selected 7 winners that represented 3 high schools, 3 junior highs, and 1 special artist category. Our civic engagement lesson has also been presented and shared with several other school districts across the state.
Students in the internship conceptualized the competition, promoted it, created a rubric for scoring, and scored it. Manifest 5 provided the guidance and mentorship to the 18 student interns, which were divided up into 4 teams. The teams consisted of content planning, website development, multimedia development, and project management. Our interns determined they wanted to focus on stories of hope and resilience across 4 categories. They were visual motion, visual arts, auditory arts, and special artists. 2 of our project managers are here with me today to share their experience. Glenna Lustina, who last year was a 12th grader from Western, and Tina Ketson, who was a 10th grader last year at Cypress and is currently an 11th grader at Cypress this year.
Throughout this pandemic, isolation, loneliness, and the ever-gloomy future lingered over our heads day and night. As fellow students, we knew that these everlasting thoughts were rampant throughout our school. We created this challenge to embrace and emphasize the 5 C's: creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and compassion within our AUHSD community. Personally, this experience helped reinforce the values already instilled in me by the Unlimited You mantra. I felt that being able to have some semblance of control over something, anything in the midst of a pandemic, empowered me to my fullest potential. Through this AIM opportunity, I've learned how to balance being a leader and a team player. There was no set person in charge. Rather, we were all played a large part to ensure the resiliency and strength our community showed was highlighted. Being able to partner with the company truly allowed me to have a glimpse into the real world of business and consumerism. Not only was I able to learn the ins and outs of marketing, the support and guidance of Manifest 5 granted us the credibility and confidence we needed to flourish. I truly believe I will be able to carry the skills I've learned from this internship to further myself in my education. Thank you to the entire iLab team, specifically Mr. Noah and Mrs. Kwan, for their continued support.
Personally, managing a district-wide project like this amidst a pandemic with 17 other amazing students is a unique experience, and I'll be starting college soon, and through the entire iLab experience, I was able to learn how to communicate professionally, manage and assign tasks with other interns, and collaborate not just within ourselves, but also in other expertise, such as with other adults throughout the AUHSD district. And as someone who learned how to work as a group, we all had to work together and identify our strengths, and we had groups with specialized skills such as web design, content creation, graphics, and then there's us, the project managers, who had to essentially make sure that we were on top of our game and that we had our objective met. And that objective was to make sure that we showed the resilience of our students. And it was incredibly an emotional experience to see so many of our students rise up and show how, amidst this global pandemic, they've managed to take something and make it inspiring, make it so much more productive. And it's all because of iLab that we were able to do this. And I would like to say thank you to everyone for all your hard work, and thank you for giving us this amazing opportunity.
And now I'd like to present to you the winners of the iLab We Rise Together Challenge. Our winners were awarded their certificates at the end of last year, so they're not here in person, but they are watching us virtually. And I'd like to say hello to all of them. Our first winner in this special artist category is Angelica Rivera from Magnolia, 9th grader. Instead of titling their pieces, we had our students fill out the sentence, "I rise because," and you will be able to read each winner's I rise statement. In the junior high category, for auditory art, we have Aliza Ahmad from Orangeview Junior High, 8th grade. Visual arts category, we have Hanny Lee from Lexington Junior High, 8th grade. For visual motion, we have Brielle Dronkers from Cambridge Virtual Academy, 7th grade. In the high school categories, for auditory art, we have Kevin Nguyen from Western High School, 9th grade. Visual art, Dowen Seo from Cypress High School, 10th grade. And for visual motion, Jade Monette from Loera High School in 12th grade. Jade was our only winner last year who happened to be a senior. She is now graduated and doing amazing things. Jade's story was featured on the May 28th AUHSD Future Talks with our very own Superintendent Matsuda. Tune in to hear about how she turned the pandemic into an opportunity. So now I'd like to thank the board. Thank you, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, and our partnership with ROP for your support, not only in the iLab program, but the iLab brand new space at Western. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I just had a, can we send this We Rise Together winners by email to board members so we could actually look at their presentations too?
They're on the back, aren't they?
No, they're on the back, but I'm saying for us so that it's easier to click on it when we get it by email.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's right, you don't have to write it all in.
Yeah.
Okay, our next presentation will be on...
Can I say something real
Yes.
quick? I just want to publicly again thank Ms. Kwan. I know when she was the principal at Western, she helped lead this effort. But then also the amazing teachers that are a part of this work. I know Gail is here and Mr. Noah. We're also really grateful for our partnership with ROP. They share the same
Definitely.
mission and vision that we have as a district in preparing kids for college, career, and life. So we're really excited about the work they're doing, and there's so much more to come from the iLab. I can't wait to see the great outcomes for our kids. So thank you, guys.
Thank you again, yes. And Mr. Jabbar, you have...
No, I had more comments. I thought other board members had comments, so I was reserving it. But I just wanted to say, amazing, right? I also saw the facility virtually, and that looks amazing. I can't just say more about the facility itself. I'm a big believer in sending students to like facilities which look like state-of-the-art buildings, so that way they really come prepared. And I think this is an excellent example. We have many jewels now with many of our bond-related projects, but this is one of the great projects, including the work that you guys are doing. So thank you to the teachers. Thank you to the students for sharing your story. I am very excited to actually click on these and listen to your winning projects, because I think that's the key for me to kind of see, and I like to crow about it at other places that I go, saying that look at our kids excelling, right? So thank you very much. And I also want to comment on Mr. Ta, who's a great example, who came back and who's actually being part of this project. So thank him on behalf of the board as well. Thank you.
Mrs. Trejo.
Yeah, and I was reflecting on, the students, what an example you are of showing, you showed this community, an example to the world of your resilience and just like, the creative process that you all went through. It wasn't easy. But just the honest truth of what you were feeling, and I'm just so enamored that you're just a really shining example. A lot of people really couldn't get through this pandemic, and a lot of grown-ups couldn't get through it, and you just really set such a wonderful example to me, to all of the adults here. How you can turn, hard times into creativity and learn and grow. A lot of us resist change, we resist learning new things, but what a shining example. I am beyond proud of all of you, and I can't wait to look at your examples. And thank you so much. Thank you for putting yourselves out there and being honest. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to the leadership team for leading the district through this process. I visited the iLab a couple times this last week during the process of it being set up, and then on opening day when it still is in the process, but it is looks like it's going to be a fantastic learning environment for all concerned. So thank you for your leadership, and look forward to seeing and hearing more about it as the year goes through. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to thank all of you. These have been such difficult times that it's hard to even put it into words. And to have you share your resilience and what you're doing in education and for yourselves and your peers, it's a beautiful story. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, then I will refer to Dr. Freed for our E-cadence tech squad.
Yeah, so here's another great example of how our staff and students are creating a better world through our Unlimited U. I'm proud to bring up our program administrator, Scott Rendell of Career Readiness.
Thank you, Dr. Freed. Good evening, Board President Piercy, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, and our community, both online and here in the audience. Very excited to share another AIM opportunity that our students had this summer that was very unique and specialized. And so I'm gonna speak quickly so we can get to our students. But I want to share with you first just the goals around this and a little bit about what it was. But the idea behind this program and the vision that Mrs. Manville brought to us, that I'll introduce her in a moment, was to provide a work-based learning experience for students that would support the district-wide deployment of E-cadence, our new learning management system. So involving our students in that process of building this new system for learning. And what the high school and junior high school students did was develop screencasts for E-cadence support site and a few other items that Mrs. Manville and the students will share with you. And then our junior high students participated as assistants. So we actually had junior high students experiencing a work-based learning experience, and they just did a fantastic job. So I'm going to turn it over to one of our teacher coordinators, Mrs. Manville, who brought the vision to us, and she'll talk with you about the participants in the program.
All right, so first of all, I just wanted to say how proud I am of our E-cadence Tech Squad because, and I have two representatives today with us, two students, a high school student intern and a junior high assistant, both who were CVA students, and one of which has moved on to Kennedy High School. So to start, to say is that we had 8 high school interns, 11th and 12th grade students, and then we had 5 junior high school assistants, and students were recruited from Cambridge Virtual Academy. What students worked on each week, like Scott was just saying a few minutes ago, were screencasts. And at the outset, we thought we would be working on 10 screencasts, and you'll see how many the students actually completed in a few minutes. And those screencasts were an answer to a question, and that was, how are we going to support our AUHSD students and parents in the rollout of E-cadence? We're supporting our teachers, but how are we going to also do the same for our students and for our parents? So the E-cadence Tech Squad were in, before we go to this, they're in collaborative teams. They worked on 4 teams. One intern was a project manager, and then there were other interns as well on those teams. And then, of course, there was the junior high assistant, which I think was the first time we've had junior hires participate in AIM. So the students, like I told you, their primary goal at the outset was to create 10 screencasts, but they created over 52 screencasts, GIFs, and then screenshots with directions. And then they also worked on user stories. And user stories are something that we do in software development. And those user stories were ideas that the students had from their participation and use of E-cadence during Cambridge Virtual Academy during the year. And what that meant is they, with the user stories, they came up with ideas to either refine what was something that they wanted to refine in the E-cadence learning management system, or they added to something that they wanted to add, or something also in the E-cadence learning management system. I would like to also emphasize that they used Agile, which is a professional project management methodology used to develop software, and professionals may take courses in the ins and outs of Agile and receive a certificate. It's also a way to manage a project by breaking it up into several phases. We conferred with the EK team to condense those phases for our high school and junior high squad. And now I'd like to introduce our first representative. Oh, I'm sorry. And now I'd like to show one of the screencasts that the students created.
I love it. Wow.
I would have thought that. So Ariel will be coming up in just a minute. He's our junior high assistant, and he actually created the E-cadence intro that you saw, and those intros are at the beginning of every single E-cadence screencast.
All right.
So thank you, Ariel, for that work, that creative work. And now I'd like Madison Ochango to come up and talk about her experience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Madison Ochanko. I was the team lead for T1. Today I'm going to be talking about retros, which was similar to a weekly reflection. So every week, the entire tech squad would come together to participate in a retro. For the retros, we'd use a website called Jamboard, and we'd put up sticky notes answering the 3 questions: what do you want to keep doing, what do you want to stop doing, and what do you want to start doing. After we answered those 3 questions, we then put 2 dots on 2 sticky notes we believe were important, or we believe we just need to come back to in the future. And once we were all done with our sticky notes and our dots, we'd then come together as a group and discuss what we put down. I personally really enjoyed this part of the internship because it made me reflect on my work at the end of the week. These reflections are really important for everyone in a group setting because it strengthened our 5 C's. Talking about the changes we wanted and having an open communication is incredibly important in a group setting because it makes sure we're all efficient at our work. We all also needed compassion to help strengthen the success of our teams. By listening to each other and problem solving, our E-cadence team developed a really strong bond. It was an honor to be a part of this program, and I really look forward to the success of our team. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, my name is Arya Berenji, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience of the E-cadence Tech Squad. So when we had our E-cadence internship, we focused on several methodologies such as Agile and in this Agile approach, we had daily Scrum meetings, and we would talk about, as previously mentioned, about our progress and how we should deal with it. And I believe that we exemplified all the 5 C's in these daily Scrum meetings, but not only in these daily Scrum meetings, but also in the whole internship. And however, I believe that compassion was the one I valued the most throughout the internship, because without compassion, you do not have fluency and coherence with your peers. But when we do use compassion, we can see that you can not only create a comfortable workspace for yourself, but for everybody around you. And you can see that when using compassion in our own work in the E-cadence Tech Squad, productivity skyrocketed, and as previously mentioned, the E-cadence Tech Squad was originally supposed to create 10 screencasts. Wow. But at the end of the E-cadence internship, we created 73 pieces of content. I mean, that's just amazing how an act of kindness can truly define and change our progress. So thank you for allowing me to and giving me this opportunity to speak here today. And initially, thank you everyone for coming out here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Aria. Thank you, Madison. So you want to continue to support E-cadence through the E-cadence Tech Squad and support continued implementation through help support desk, additional online support, those sorts of things as it rolls out to our teachers and students. I wanted to pause here, though. You heard from the students how involved E-cadence was in supporting them through this process. So I want to give a special thanks to Tim Nguyen and Dang Vu from E-cadence, the E-cadence team members, Eric Tang, Nathan Ha, Ethan Matsuda, Mrs. Lori Manville, and Mrs. Valerie Hamilton, who are our Tech Squad coordinators, our teacher coordinators who made this happen. And it just turned out to be a great program, and we look forward to continuing it in the future. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I have to say, I was extremely impressed with the 2 students who gave reports. You're really sharp kids, let me tell you. And I think you're doing a phenomenal job. And your presentations were very good. It's just says a lot about our school system. We've got such bright students who are involved and doing great things. And I mean, they ask you to do 10 and you end up with 70? That's pretty good. That's darn good. Excellent job. And I just hope that a lot more people will take up and understand E-cadence. I'm going to try. I'm going to take the introduction. I want to know how to do it too. So, board, questions, comments?
Oh gosh, well you said it all. Those 2 students were extremely impressive. Boy, what you can put on your resume now. We probably will hear that you're going to get hired tomorrow at a company for this work, but 73, that's amazing. That's not easy stuff to understand. And I hope that that you were patient with the adults trying to understand all of this, because sometimes we adults we have a hard time learning this. So thank you for taking the time to do that, and thank you for helping us out. That's just tremendous. And just please thank all the teachers, and I neglected to thank all the teachers in the room we have these tremendous opportunities for our kids only because our teachers are willing to step up. and do this extra work and take the time to do that. So we honor you, the board. I know I can speak for the board, but thank you, teachers, for doing this and giving us our kids the opportunity. This is just blowing my mind, the careers that are happening, in our own district. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for the teacher leaders giving all the students their wisdom, their guidance during this process. But I have to really give a shout out to the 2 students that spoke this evening, especially and I'm not slighting the older student, but especially a junior high student, being able to present as you did. You did an excellent job. We look forward to you when you become a senior, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like getting the experience between now and at that time, where you will be in life. So thank you, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
Well, I'll double down on that, but I got to say, Madison and Aria, both of you, kind of examples of what we like to see in AUHSD, and I hope that the superintendent will use both of them as ambassadors to actually put them out there. Hopefully, I know both the parents are here, I think both of your parents, we are going to use them to actually promote AUHSD. Aria, you are very, very eloquent in talking about the 5 C's, and I think that what captured was you were talking about the compassion piece of it and how you connected it back to the output, right? That's incredible for us as board members. We are very proud to see that coming out of students. And Madison, same goes to you. I know that you guys will, I think Anne Marie mentioned it, use it on your resumes, but we're going to use you on our resumes. So we got to make sure that we promote what excellent work you did, but at the same time, show what excellent work AUHSD is doing for our community and our students. So I hope that we'll do that in the future. So thank you, both of you.
And I would like to thank Aria and Madison, both impressive. Not everybody has the skill to get up and speak to a room full of people. That's not something that you just get. You have to work on it. You have to have that feeling in your heart when you're speaking. And I was so touched by you, both of you. Outstanding. Thank you.
Mr. Matsuda?
But I also like to echo everything that the board has said, but both of you talked about how you learned this project management program called Agile, right? That's a corporate level program. And that I know I spoke to Mr. Dang Vu about the level of our students, and he was blown away that you embrace that. And this is something that, corporate people are exposed to, this Agile tool. And now that you both in high school and junior high have that on your resume, that's huge. And thanks to the AIM folks there, Scott Rendell, and our teachers, as well as our partners at E-cadence. Thank you so much.
All right. Fantastic job. One last applause for that group. Phenomenal job. Thank you. Okay, and we have one more presentation tonight. We have our 45-day state budget revision. Dr. Nien?
Thank you so much. Good evening, Board President Piercy, members of the board, Superintendent Matsuda, cabinet members, members of the public, and everyone viewing online. Tonight I'm presenting the 45-day update that is required by the Educational Code. Governor Newsom signed the Budget Act into on June 28th, and so the 45-day is actually due tonight on August 12th. On the state budget, the major addition is the local control funding formula, the new concentration portion of the grant. For our district, our new revenue that will be coming in is about $9.5 million. Now, so with the new grant, there are strings attached. So this would actually increase our funding from the 50% funding factor to the 65%. these additional 15% would need to be used to increase the number of credentialed and or classified staff to provide direct services to pupils, and this will including custodians. That was clearly outlined. And how this will be measured will be to compare the prior year staff to pupil ratio at schools that have the greater than the 55% unduplicated pupil. Those are students who are free and reduced, foster youth, and English learners, versus the schools that have less than the 55%. So this is a different add-on for this program. By having these new dollar amount, there will be a one-time adjustment in the LCAP supplement as part of the LCAP annual update. The annual LCAP update for this portion of it will be due to the board by February 28, 2022. And we are currently working with Joe Carmona and his office to make sure that we include this update at that time. So we'll be bringing that later on in the year. Regarding special education, there's a lot of new and revised funding for special education. The biggest funding we are seeing is the increase of the statewide rates from $625 to $715 per ADA, and our increase for that is estimated to be about $2.8 million. So our previous funding was about $18 million, and we were now going to be about 20.7 for the special ed AB 602 base funding. So this will be ongoing, and so we are really extremely grateful for this funding to our district. Regarding the summer and after-school program, we are projected to receive about $115,000 from $790,000 to about $900,000 in funding. And these are the programs that we're partnership with the Y. The next new funding is a one-time funding of the A through G completion improvement grant. And we are estimated to receive about $5.6 million in this one-time funding to help to increase the number of high school students to graduate with A to G eligibility. Currently, our numbers from last year is about 52%. And so then our total allocation is about $5.6 million for this one time.
So Nancy, just so that folks are paying attention to the, I just don't want everybody to get confused.
Okay.
Watching it. One is, I want to pay attention to the top part, right? The summer and after-school programs, the additional $115,848
Yes.
coming to AUHSD.
Yes, but we partnership with the Y to run those programs for
Right.
us.
So because I think a lot of folks, when looking at it, it says $215 million in federal one-time funds used for after-school programs, could have the idea that we're getting that amount.
No,
right?
it's through our partnership with the Y.
Right.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
I want to make sure that we're clearing that part when we are making that presentation to highlight that portion of it.
Perfect, thank you. The next piece is the unemployment insurance. Initially projected back at May revised, the unemployment insurance was at 1.23%, which was equivalent to about almost $3 million. And so so the new rate, it will be down to about $1.2 million of savings of about $1.7 million. But really, the thing I wanted to make sure I bring up is our projected last year in 2021 school year, it was only about $125,000. So imagine our last year's expense was only $125,000 to this year of $1.2 million. So that's a number we're dealing with, and this isn't because of the additional unemployment in California, so the state adjusted this number. So even though it's a savings, it's not really a savings. It's an over $1 million increase for our budget, and it is ongoing currently. So it is a savings, but it's not really a savings. And the PERS rate, unfortunately, the employer pension rate, the STIRS and PERS, there was no relief for that in this budget that was enacted. And we do have some good news regarding the educator investments. The government, over $2.1 billion have been slated for the educator investments into 4 different pots. The first one is the Educator Effectiveness Block Grant, and that's the bulk of it, about $1.5 billion. That will be to help for coaching and induction, standard aligned instruction, as well as student well-being and re-engaging pupils and accelerated learning. The next piece is the National Board Certification. The third one is a teacher residency grant program to have mentor teachers to support teachers coming through, especially in the field of special education, bilingual education, science teacher, as well as other high need areas. And the last one is the other professional learning will include professional learning for literacy, as well as LGBTQ and online training, academic behavior, and social emotional learning practices. So we're very excited about all these investments that the state is making to our field. Additional educator investments, these are for the classified employees. Once again, we are very grateful that the governor has put in the classified summer school employees summer assistance program. Our district have many employees that have elected to participate in this program, and just this last year the match was actually 99%. So we're very excited for our employees that have participated in this program. There's also the classified school employee teacher credentialing program to help to train classified employees into the teaching field as well. And finally, this is although it's not a state program, this is the ESSER number 3 from the federal government. We just received the initial allocation back in June, and our district's one-time allocation is estimated to be about $64.5 million. And so really, this is basically to safe return to in-person instruction for our school district. And now there are also additional exponential plan that we are working on with Joe Camino's office as well regarding this categorical program. And as you will see here, this is the summary of all the additional dollars that we will be receiving. The concentration grant is an add-on program, about $9.5 million. Special education, $2.8 million. The ACES funding one time of $115,000. A through G completion, about $5.6 million. Unemployment insurance, this will be a savings to our district of about $1.7 million. And the ESSER one-time funding of $64.5 million. So all that was a really great news that we're getting a lot of some ongoing and some one-time dollars to our district. However, they are measured risk though to this budget at this point. There is a potential for overheating of the economy due to the inflation, as we can all see at this point. There are supply chain issues, as we all know, in different things we're buying or even when building homes. Workers shortage, that is a problem continuously at this point. And we have never seen this much money from the federal support. And so this is a risk to the budget because we do not know down the road how this could be. There's also the Wall Street reaction to the inflation pressures, and then as well as the Feds at this point. And obviously, the one thing that I know is all in everyone's minds, the COVID-19, the new Delta variant at this point. So just yesterday, the governor announced the vaccine mandate. And so obviously, we'll be bringing up to the board shortly to give additional information regarding that. And so that could be part of the risk to the current budget as well. And so that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions here? Anne Marie.
Thank you, Nancy. I love this. This was very comprehensive. Going back to page 9 on the classified school employee summer assistant program.
Yes.
Can you clarify, just as my trustee did a minute ago with the other, the 60 million general fund, that's not money coming to us?
No, this is for the entire state. Yes, thank you for the clarification. The $60 million is for the entire state. So it will be, our portion will be depending on how much the employees elect. So it's a up to $1 for dollar match. And in districts, we have a lot of our classified employees that elected to have this program, and so we're so excited for them. And they're so grateful to the board and to the district for making this happen.
And we're so grateful to do this. So just clarify, this is a cost to the district. This is a program that is matching the employees' funds, the employees who put their funds in a savings throughout the year. It's at a cost to the district.
There is the statutory benefits that the district does have to contribute to that program. But at the end of the day, when we did how much our employees are be able to get back, it's a lot, and we're very happy for them that they have this opportunity to do this. And this is our third year already doing this program in our district, and we're just really happy that the board is able to do this for the classified employees who are eligible.
Correct. I just wanted to emphasize that this is this is at a cost, and we are exceptionally happy for our classified families to actually have some savings at the end of the day, at the end of the year.
Yes.
So thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you.
On page 11, the fiscal impact projected, what is the time frame, or is there a time frame where we have to spend the money that they give us?
So the program for the concentration is basically, for example, that one will be current year. So we are expecting to put a plan together to how to spend those money. The goal will be to spend it in current year for the concentration portion.
Okay.
And then the special education, we always make contribution into special education, so that will basically reduce the district's contribution into special education. So we will be spending all the money in this year as well.
Okay.
And then the ACES funding program, since we have a partnership with the Y, it's a one-time, so we'll be working with the Y to come up with the plans with that funding. And usually it's whatever number of stock that they would be able to increase for the district. A to G completion improvement grant, I believe that is a year and a half or about. So I believe it ends in August of 2022. I can verify that, the A to G one.
Okay.
And then the unemployment one, that is, the goal is ongoing, that we will get that savings. And hopefully, with the economy getting better, the number would go back to what it was in the past. So, because right now the 0.5 is still much higher than what it was before. And the ESSER number 3 is the September 30th of 2024.
20 what?
September 30th of 2024.
24, okay, thank you.
Right.
I had another question, Madam President. Our special education funding, while we're so grateful for the extra funding, can you tell me how close this gets us to the actual cost of special ed?
You're laughing.
We don't, yeah, so we love all our kids, so no, we're nowhere near there, obviously, so this is something that we continuously working with them. There are gonna be other one-time funding coming through as well for special education, but no, we are no near how much we spend on special education, and so, but it's, this due to the different program needs, so we're nowhere near to that number.
Nowhere near, okay, thank you.
Mr. Jabbar.
Yeah, so if I could give a suggestion, because this is a public document and going to be available for folks, if you can identify what comes to AUHSD versus what's a general budget that you're projecting here, because there are some numbers, big numbers, which are shown that are statewide project or statewide allocations.
Oh, okay.
So somebody who's looking at it could say like, oh, all this money is coming to AUHSD, right? So I want to make sure that we're distinguishing that.
Yeah, so
and making sure that AUHSD portion is like saying like, hey, this is what we are receiving for AUHSD, right?
Perfect. Well, the amount received for AUHSD is in the summary page here.
Right. No, but I wanted to do it throughout the presentation because I think that's important for us when we are making presentations, that folks in the public know. I mean, I could know it, but I got solidly confused too. When I was sitting here, I watched it and say, oh, wait a second, that's a new number for me. But then I realized that, oh, that's the state allocation, not the AUHSD allocation, right?
So
I
I
wanna
think
make sure
just
that-
putting that by their state allocation, so much money,
Right.
clarifies it, because I was confused too when I looked at that.
I think
Wait a
that's
minute.
that's a key part that I wanted to make. And then the second part is, so on the summary of fundings, I know you're mentioning one-time funding for ASCS. The concentration grant add-on of 9 million, is that ongoing?
That's ongoing.
Okay, so the ongoing will be receiving it, and that's going to be part of the LCAP process
Yes.
where parents and community members get to be a
Yes,
part of the
definitely.
decision-making process.
Yes,
Same thing with special education, ongoing.
it's ongoing. So anything that doesn't have the one time is ongoing.
Okay, so I want to make sure, I know that, parents who are watching and community who are watching, this is an opportunity to get involved in the LCAP process. If you're burning desires to advocate for a program, this is the opportunity for you to actually step up, and I'm looking right in the back, got some parent advocates, so the opportunity to actually step up and organize and be a part of the LCAP process. The other question that I had was regarding the insurance. So the insurance, just explain to me that one more time so that I could understand it and also the rest of the folks could understand it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So in May, when we projected the budget for 2021-22, our estimate for the unemployment insurance cost was about $2.9 million. So when the budget came through, they reduced the rate to 0.5%. Then the total amount then became $1.2 million.
Okay.
So we do have savings in the budget.
Right, so I think what I was trying to figure out is you mentioned it's a savings, but it's also not a savings is what you mentioned.
Because, yes, so the reason why is because in 2021, just this last year that we finished, we spent about only $125,000.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So even, yes,
So it's a savings, but not a savings from last year.
yes.
Right.
Okay. All right, I think those are it for, and then the ESSER 64 million, again, that's a one-time funding for us.
Yes.
And that we have till 2024 to spend.
Yes.
Right? And is there a process, or is that part of the LCAP process as well?
No, that's
Okay.
separate.
So that's separate. And so, as board members, we get an opportunity to weigh in on, and obviously you guys are going to recommend to us how
Yes.
you're spending it.
We've been
So-
recommending, and also we do take the LCAP process into mind because there are a lot of different things go through it. And so we meet with, Joe Kamala's office to come up with plans and make that recommendation.
And so whatever plan that we put, it's pretty much spending through 2024, and we can't actually plan for anything beyond 2024.
Correct, for right now, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I highlight that part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it comes with its own strings.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
My only comment is this last page, risks to the budget, they should all be flashing red lights for us. These are very difficult, tenuous times. And when you look at a runaway inflation, shortages, federal spending, Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street, that is a very, very iffy situation. So I hope the public is tuning in to the reality of what we're all in. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
thank you, Nancy, it was a good report. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, and let's hope everything keeps going well.
Oh, you know what? I had a question. I'm sorry.
Got a question?
I was going to ask that question, but I almost forgot. So I know in the past, we've asked to have like an agenda item to kind of give an update on COVID, a status or standalone agenda item so that we get an opportunity to ask questions. I want to see if we could insert that back in. Even if we don't have a report, we could just skip saying that there is no report. At least if there is a agenda placeholder, we can ask questions based on what's going on with COVID in preparations, which leads me to get a update on the state mandate which came through for teacher COVID testing and COVID vaccination. I don't know if it's you, Manuel, or you, Nancy, but give the board and the public an update in terms of what we have planned. I know we already planned for it even before the state came through, but I want to make sure that we're transparent in saying what we are doing to pretty much implement that.
Great, absolutely, Mr. Jabbar.
Thank you.
So as you know, and I think Dr. Nguyen mentioned it, that the governor announced that there is a mandate or actually a state order through the California Department of Public Health that really is requiring that we, all employees, is this on?
Is it on?
Is it on?
Can you hear it?
Well, the item is not specifically agendized, so we can do a very short report as it relates to,
Staff report?
the budget, or we could do it in staff
Do it
report.
during the staff report?
I could tie it to the budget in terms, that's one of the reasons I was going to ask that question
Yeah.
during budget, because we do have an opportunity to ask in terms of allocations for budget, in terms of spending. So that's how I'm asking the question. So I think we're okay with the Brown Act.
I ain't stretching it, I think.
It's not stretching, it's actually, we have an item in terms of some of these funds are going to be towards spending towards testing and COVID vaccination. So we have an opportunity to ask that. Yep.
Great, thank you, Mr. Jabbar, for that question.
I don't think your mic's on. Tap it hard.
No, it's on.
Closer. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So again, thank you for that question. And as Dr. Nguyen mentioned, this was something that was announced by Governor Newsom yesterday and came down to our district as a state order from the California Department of Public Health, requiring that all employees in our district show proof of vaccination in our district. And again, this is for all employees within the Anaheim Union High School District and really all districts in California. So in terms of our district, we do have a plan where we will be asking employees through a system that we have in our district called Talent Ed, that is part of our Human Resources Department, where our employees will be asked whether they have current vaccination. If they do, they will upload proof of that vaccination. If they don't, they will let us know that they do not, and they will go through weekly testing at our sites, ongoing until they show proof of vaccination.
Okay. Thank you for that. I just wanted to make sure that we had a plan and the public knows about it. So although it was just announced yesterday, we have been contemplating this. So thank you very much for that short report.
Okay. That's it. We'll move on to public comments. This is our open session items. This is the opportunity for our public comments at the beginning of each agenda item or at this time for items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the Board of Trustees should complete a speaker request form, which is available on the information table at the back, and submit it to the executive assistant as soon as possible. Each speaker is limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. Each topic or item is limited to a total of 20 minutes. Board members cannot immediately respond to public comments as stated on the speaker request form. Our first speaker this evening will be Ron Flores. Mr. Flores? We would ask each of our speakers to state your name and your city of residence.
Me llamo Ronaldo Flores. Mañana Shabut Ron Flores from Huntington Beach, California,
Thank you, Ron.
where it never rains except yesterday. It's so great to be here tonight with three Western principals that have never seen Anaheim beat us. And it's going to continue. This word means basta, It means enough,
I think, Ron, you just jinxed it.
and it's not enough. We're going to beat them again this year. I just texted Luke Correa to come to the game again because every time we beat him, I make him wear our varsity jacket. Well, I'm here tonight for a couple of reasons. First one is good to see you all again. It's been a year and a half. I've been locked up. I put on 14 pounds, so it's good to be back out here. First thing is, a while ago, maybe when Anaheim last beat us, we were promised a security fence on Orange Avenue, and it's still not there. A few years ago, a homeless person came right into a classroom because there was no security fence. So I'm asking you, gentlemen and ladies, when is that fence going to go up? We should have that up as soon as possible. It's a security risk. Second point is, thank you for the improvements that you've done. You've really stepped to the plate. A lot of things are changing, especially out in the football field. My question is, when are you going to finish the field out in the back by the parking lot? You did a great job on the parking lot. It's excellent. A lot of comments on that from the alumni. And then lastly is, I spoke to Mr. Jabbar the other day. It only took me 20 phone calls, but I got through.
I think it was your hat.
We are interested in having a competition between Anaheim School District and Santa Ana. And an event we're planning, it would consist of a spelling bee and talent show between the two district high schools in Anaheim versus Santa Ana. Each school would pick a winner, and then the winner would go to the location where we're going to have the finals, and then they would compete and win trophies and other things. There might even be a scholarship feature that we're going to add to it. So who would I talk to in the school district to implement that or begin investigating that? Mr. Fried, I saw your movie on YouTube. Thank you all very much for your time, and continue to do a great job and put Western number first and move that thing. I can't see Western High School. Okay, it gets in the way. Put it in Anaheim, it's over there. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ron. It's good to see you again. Okay, our next speaker will be Maritza Bermudez.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Matsuda, board members, staff, and people in the audience and virtually. My name is Maritza Bermudez, and I'm happy to be here again. I'm from Anaheim, California, and I'm a parent of students in the Anaheim Elementary School District and also of Anaheim Union High School District. I have an eighth grader.
I couldn't hear that.
Oh, sorry. I have an eighth grader at Sycamore Junior High School. She's here with me today. And I'm here also representing my work. I work for Orange County Congregation Community Organization. And I'm here to speak on kind of celebrating a little bit of the work that we've been doing. And I say we because I feel that I'm, as a parent and also through my work, that we have here in collaboration, and we're working really, I guess, closely in trying to meet everybody's needs and our vision and what we want to see for the students and families of this district. I know we just started the school year with the CARE opening, and also the CARE approach, which I loved it. I saw here in the presentation, and also being on the school openings committee. I thought it was great that they took that approach, and that they were keeping not only the students but also the staff in mind, right? And also working on that on a restorative opening. So that was great. So kudos to everyone that's been part of that. I know I was at Anaheim High School the first day the teachers were back with the PTSA. I have a niece there, and so it was nice to see all the teachers. Everybody, like Mr. Grant said, everybody looked really happy, and I know my daughter came really home excited yesterday, so that really lifted my spirits too, that I made the right decision to send her back to school. With that, a lot of the great things that are happening. Sycamore is looking great. But one of the things that I think we are in line with, that we're going closer into achieving, is with our parent involvement. We did meet with Ms. Araceli Huerta, Ms. Tania Garcia from the community schools, which was great that we had a space with them and talked to them about the upcoming work and the work that's being done with the community schools at Sycamore and at Anaheim. And we also talked to Mr. Carlos Hernandez and Ms. Araceli Chavez from the district also. They actually came to our workspace and had a meeting in our Anaheim Intersections Committee meeting, and which I think was great, because I feel that doing those connections, we can move forward. Because I've come here in the past to speak about, the parent engagement, parent involvement, because I always feel like there's that one piece missing of everything that we do. We kind of leave our parents and our families, kind of to the side and not too much involved. So I know with these meetings that we're having with them, and that we are given the space to work collaboratively together, we're going to reach the desirable, right, of seeing our students succeed. I could say a lot more. Today, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I'm just losing my train of thought. I have kids going to 4 different schools, and I'm just thinking today was just a wild day, just seeing all the families. I guess it's still in me, seeing all the students, and I wish, that when we see those parents there dropping off their kids on the first days of school, right, that they'd be more present. And so we want to work together to try to achieve that, right, and make sure that the kids have what they need. I know what I was missing. The other thing I wanted to speak about was the mental health. I did have an opportunity to meet with Dr. Cruz, which my respects, amazing person we have here. We're so blessed to have her here in our district, leading the work on mental health. I can say I'm probably part of the Parent Ambassador Mental Program, that I'm hoping it's going to do its purpose, and I'm very excited. So in that sense, I feel like we are on track, and the fact that we are given the space to collaborate, it speaks huge about our district. So I really want to thank everybody who's given us the space, but there's still a lot of work to do. And we're here to work together and see the outcome be great for not just the students. We hear of all these great things. I was very inspired by the students here. And oh man, I wish we could see more students being able to have those opportunities, right? So, want to work together to make sure that everybody's getting those opportunities and giving those spaces to just thrive. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker will be Rosa Bond.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rosa Bond. I am a mother of 2 sons who are in the elementary school district, so shout out to them, and also a parent organizer with the Anaheim Intersections Initiative. We've been coming to these meetings because we appreciate the collaborative work and, like Maritza mentioned, the celebration of the contributions that the district has offered. I'm very proud, and I don't even my kids are not even in the district yet, but I'm excited to share with the other parents of all these great opportunities that the students have, compared to when I went to school. It was like, the dynamics change, and that's something to celebrate, and looking forward to that. And like Maritza mentioned, as a parent, we represent other parents as well. This is not things that we're observing, these are things that we're hearing as well, that parents want to be included in conversations, and they want to know what the district is doing, and they want to also make decisions. They want to be part of that, because I think it takes, and we all know that it takes a village to raise a child, and I think the more participation, the more opportunities that parents have, just to even listen to the amazing things that the district is doing, is making the parents feel part of. We understand, that the parents have limited opportunities because, we're not able to be present at the school. But I think in just knowing that all these great opportunities that the child has, like, for example, video games, or there's so much opportunities out there, and parents just need to know that so that they're more comfortable in supporting their kids when they want to do something, that it's not a doctor or a lawyer, it's, some things that have not, jobs that have not been invented yet, that there's an opportunity for that. So I think just very motivating. And yes, you can participate. These are the activities that they're able to participate in, and just listening in. And also the student voice, hearing these students with great talents, the way they speak, the way they share, I'm just blown away. And I was like, why don't you have a microphone here and share your thoughts? And as a parent, I just want to see that. I just want to be able to be part of a collaborative, because it really takes all of us. And these conversations that we're starting, with Araceli in the community schools, I think we want to distribute that through the whole district and say, this is a community, this is what we're doing for it, and this is how you can be part of it as well. So I'm just excited, looking forward to upcoming conversations. This doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning. And we just want to let you know that we're here to support the work that you guys are doing, and to know that, we're just so proud of the work that has been done. We just want to be part of it and let you guys know that we're here, So I really appreciate the time, and really looking forward to the parent engagement piece, and looking forward to that. So I appreciate it, and hope you guys have a great night.
Thank you very much. What we need is a lot more involved parents. Okay. Our next speaker will be Isaac Romero.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Isaac Romero, and I live in the city of Anaheim. I'm a senior at Anaheim High School, and I'm a community leader.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Could you speak closer to the mic? Would you start over, please?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isaac Romero. I live in Anaheim, and I am a senior that attends Anaheim High School. I'm also a community leader at OCO in the Anaheim Intersections Initiative. Coming back to school, it's been great seeing how my school in particular, and I'm sure the schools in the district, have been handling the COVID situation. Before, things were not that great, but seeing all the precautionary measures that my school has been taking, and how they continue to follow the guidelines, it's definitely great to see. The same goes for not just the faculty, but also the students, right? They keep on their mask, and it's not just it's not just the faculty that tries to follow these guidelines, but also the students themselves. In particular, I'm part of the Anaheim Bros, and we've been helping. Yesterday and today, we've been handing out masks to students that may not have one when they're coming in. Seeing as one of Anaheim's guidelines is that you need to have a mask when you come in through the gate. Seeing all the changes that have been made, it really gives me a sense of peace, and definitely calms my nerves, as well as the other nerves of my fellow peers and students, because all these precautionary measures definitely make us feel more safe. However, just like things have been going great, in terms of COVID. However, there's still a divide between our faculty and students. I think one of the biggest things that came up today was the Assembly Bill 104, which definitely helped students with some of their grades. However, one of my teachers didn't even know that it would soon stop. I think that's something that really needs to be a gap that needs to be closed, because many of our students, they don't just struggle with grades, they struggle with mental health, personal problems, and I think this gap isn't just for the Assembly Bill 104. It could be a gap for many other things. However, it definitely has calmed down. Many parents that I've spoken to were definitely happy to see many other students involved. I mentioned that I'm part of the Anaheim Bros, and we also have been heavily involved during this time, during the quarantine, and I'm sure that we will continue to be involved helping our school. I just want to, show my appreciation for my school and the district for everything that they do to ensure that we have a good school year. For me, it means a lot since it's my last year at school, and I wouldn't want to spend it, through distance learning. So thank you.
Bravo.
Okay, thank you, Isaac.
Hey, Isaac, can you stay up here for a second? I think I'm going to be the first of many of the board members that are going to say, we really appreciate you coming and talking to us, telling us how you feel. Whether it's a criticism or whether it's a compliment, we always want to hear from our students. So we really appreciate you coming here and getting through this. I know it's kind of tough for some reason. We're just people up here. We're parents. We're really people of the community where you come from. But I don't know, it's the microphones or the dais over there. And somehow we're a little bit intimidating. But really, honestly, we really do listen, and we really want to hear what you have to say. So I truly salute you for coming up here and doing it, because I know it gets a little tough. But as a bro, oh my goodness, you guys did so much work last year. Every weekend you were out there, every weekend. And you kind of, you put yourselves out there. You masked up, you put your gloves on, and you took care of our community. So we thank you. We honor you. So thank you for coming and telling us what we really need to do, what we need to think about, what we need to improve, and how we're doing things well. But we honestly salute you. Thank you so much, Isaac. Bravo.
All right. It's always a pleasure to have our students come and talk, for sure. And it is tough. Okay, our next speaker will be Frida Sanchez. Another one of our students. All right.
Hello. Hello, Superintendent Matsuda and board members. Like my mom mentioned earlier, Maritza Bermudez. My name is Frida Sanchez. I'm an 8th grader at Sycamore Junior High. I am really excited to be back at school, especially since I didn't really get to experience my 7th grade year, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. Anyways, I'm here this beautiful night to speak to you about mental health, mental illness, support, and education, not only for students and school staff, but for our parents and families. So you may be asking, why is an 8th grader specifically saying this when there's so many other adults here that could probably speak to you about this? But the thing is, I'm fortunate enough to be from a supportive family that understands mental illness and is informed about it. And me, as someone who suffers from multiple mental illnesses, I'm really fortunate to have that. And when they saw the red flags, they reached out for help, which if they didn't, I most likely would not be able to have the opportunity to speak to you today. So I'm grateful for that. But I want to say thank you for all the resources you guys are pushing out to the schools about mental health, because it really is a struggle in many teens today. And just informing the parents, since unfortunately that's not the case for all families. Although I may come from a very supportive family and informed, that's not the same for every family, which I wish it would be, but unfortunately it isn't. And therefore, I believe we should help educate families as well as provide the resources necessary. Sorry, because it could be not only students that can be suffering from mental health illness, but it may be a parent as well, as sometimes, you get stressed with kids, life struggles, adult stuff. But I think we should provide those resources to everyone here in the AUHSD district. And as you guys probably seen, this pandemic has affected many people, including myself. And that's why I feel we should keep these resources we have, not only have them short term now because of COVID, but long term, because it's not only COVID that has impacted people with mental illness or caused mental illness, because mental illness is never going to go away, but we can make it a lower percentage if we work together. And I think it's really important that we pay attention to this. And like Henry Ford said, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. So that's it. Thank you.
I would like to say to you, Frida, and all of your peers and people that spoke here tonight, I can't give you a hug, but I can give you all a virtual hug. To express your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences so eloquently, it just brings tears to my eyes and it chokes me up. And I just want to say to you, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
A
Have a
very
nice day.
strong young lady and very well spoken, yes. It's just, I commend you. As an 8th grader, you said?
Yes.
All right. I expect to hear from you in the future. All right. Thank you for speaking
Have a
up.
nice day.
I was going to ask who's crying and who's not crying, because I think everybody choked up. Frida, I got to tell you, I've known you for, since you were teeny bitty, and I could tell you that you just really, really, I'm so proud of you for standing up and speaking up. And you're actually advocating not only for your peers, but you're advocating for your parents. That is amazing. And Maritza, I'm sure that you're probably proud there and tearing up too. Really, to talk about you and your experience and advocate, bravo. You are so strong. And I am so proud to say that I know you, and you're going to be my future heart surgeon that we talked about a long time ago. I know that you're going to be the future heart surgeon for me. So
Cardiothoracic surgeon.
What's that?
Cardiothoracic surgeon.
There you go, cardiothoracic surgeon. Okay. Let's just hope that I don't have to go through.
That's what I was going to say.
But either way, I just want to say that I'm so proud of you and so proud to know you. And I'm honored to know you. So thank you and keep it up. I know you're going to do great. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to ditto what everybody has said so far. You showed a lot of bravery standing up there and talking about yourself and issues. And obviously, it's not just with you, it's with many people that need assistance. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. We already had it on our forefront of our minds, but it's nice to hear from students and parents also, bringing it back to our attentions and keeping it alive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Well, Frida, you know I have to speak to you just to tell you how much I am so proud of you. I think you are the bravest person I know, and this was before you mentioned what you had been suffering and going through. I always knew that you were going to get through it and pull through it, and I know it's not over and done with, but to come up here and reveal what you're going through, that sends a bigger message to everybody than than people just kind of talking about it. You are a shining example of why we do what we do, and to bring it again, as my colleague said, to bring this to the forefront. It was just so brave of you to do that. I was crying up here because it just takes a lot to be honest and to be truthful sometimes. But that's really what is necessary to pull through and to move through, right? But I think that you just set an example for all of us. We all need to step up and be honest and truthful, you know? And again, to not only talk about the kids, but to talk about the adults. And that was part of our care opening. The care opening in our districts was not just for the students, but it was for all of the adults surrounding the students too. We reminded ourselves that we all went through this pandemic, and reminded ourselves that we need to take care of ourselves and help ourselves so that we can help the students. But we are going to continue with the mental health, and thank you for bringing it to the forefront again. And you know how much I feel about you. Thank you so much.
Of
Bravo,
course.
girl.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you, super young lady. All right. Okay, that is the last of our public speakers. Thank you all for coming forward this evening and speaking to us. Now we will move on to our normal items of business. And our first one will be 9.1, which is a rejection of liability claim. This is
So
an
moved.
action item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.2. This is the consulting services agreement for John Fenton, DBA Fenton OR1-Point LLC. Action
moved.
item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.3. This is a revised board policy 7807, independent study, first and final reading. Now, I have to say something about this. This is a bill that has been passed as an urgency legislation with immediate effect and has significant audit and fiscal impacts if not timely in place at the start of instruction of this 21-22 year. So it's recommended that we waive the requirement of a second reading in policy and adopt this revised policy and administrative regulation on one vote.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have a revised board policy one time. All right, moving on to 9.4. This is new board policy 91302, school-connected organizations, first reading. This is an information item. Do I have any questions or comments?
I do.
Yes.
So I just wanted to kind of highlight this. I know it's the first reading. I know we didn't have a policy, so this is a new policy that we're putting in place.
Right.
I read through it, but just wanting to know that the boosters and the other organizations which are part of it, have we looked at it to see how it will affect them differently if the policy was in place, the way that it's operating right now?
I don't think it's too different, is it?
Right now, with no policy, there's not a lot of district oversight, and with some of these like boosters, there's money involved. This will allow us to have better controls and oversight and support of what's happening at the schools. Also, in this case, we had a nonprofit doing great work who was using our school logos and stuff as part of the work, which we weren't part of. So this allows us to now have some of that control. So that way, if it's yeah.
Which I figured was the answer, but which leads me to then say, what are we doing to reach out now and educate these boosters to let them know that this is a policy that the board is looking at, and here's how it's going to look, and how you have to pretty much adhere to these policies. Are we reaching out and doing that?
Yes, we will be reaching out. It's not just boosters, it's parent PTA
Yeah,
organizations, it's any organization that's not necessarily a part of the school structure. We're going to be meeting with a lot of these different folks and educating not only on the policy, but on kind of the policies, procedures, and practices that we would expect as part of our organization.
Okay, are we going to basically send them a copy of this so they can read over it?
Yeah, but it's more than just the here, read this. It's going to be.
As well
yeah.
as, yes.
And I recommend that we at least have possibly a forum, just so that everybody knows and, it's out there, so that it doesn't become an issue later on saying like, hey, we did this, 15, 20 years, and now everything is changing, and why do we have to do this, right? So I think we have to take that approach of educating them and then answering the questions, and possibly, I know we're going to go ahead and approve this in the second reading, and I don't think we have enough time to discuss that with the organizations, but maybe have a mechanism to come back and do what we need to do if there are suggestions, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay, that was, all right, very good. All right, that's just an information item. Moving on to 9.5, we have another information item. We have another board policy, which are multiple policies for first reading. Now, we are going through all of our, just for the public's knowledge, we're going through all of our policies, and we are following the guideline of the Orange County School Boards Association.
California.
Actually, California, School Boards Association. And so either revising policies we've had to be more up to date, or actually instituting some new policies. So we have 9.5, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5 are all either totally revised policies or new policies. So we have 5 policies here that have our first reading. Do I have any comments or questions on any one of them?
Nope.
Nope, seeing none? Okay, well, that's just an information item. They will be back up again for a second reading. Okay, 9.6, an action item, which is a quote, instructional materials Spanish math textbook for Dual Language Academy.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Questions or comments?
No, just, no, I don't have a comment, but I just want to thank you for this on behalf of the dual immersion.
Yes, I know. This will
thank you.
answer concern for our Dual Language Academy parents.
And I want to acknowledge the work that I know Carlos did with the Math Task Force, but Amy Kwan most recently has been working with the Math Task Force in this specific piece to ensure our dual language program has the materials they need to be able to do the work in Spanish in this case.
Okay, very good.
That was my
Right.
comment too.
Huh?
So that was going to be my comment
Right.
too. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you for listening. Really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
We listen. We listen.
We do.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 9.7, action item, educational consulting agreement, Telos Educational Services.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
I do. I have
Comments?
questions. Yeah, I have questions.
Okay.
I read through this and I like it because one of it is that we got to look at different modes of delivery of our concepts that we have within AUHSD to our community. I know presentations are good, but animation videos are kind of the new thing, so I'm glad that we are actually looking at it. But I do have a question in terms of, while looking at this, is this something that our current PIO or his interns could have done or could do?
No, well, John, I don't know if you want to answer that, but John is talented, and of course, but he has so much going on. This allows this person to go deep and focus, and if you've seen other videos that we have used, we've actually used his videos before, and this is his area of expertise. He's worked closely with Scott Rendell, our coordinator of 21st Century Learning and in career readiness, and then also with Amanda Bean. So this is something that we feel is definitely a worthwhile investment. And I use the word investment because it's not just for our presentations, but when we work with our families, it's going to be tailored to actually have our message. Our Ed Division staff was part of helping to develop the script. John, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple more things. It's a valid question. I truly appreciate you asking. Animation is a whole different medium than live action, and that does require a specific type of skill set that, quite frankly, I don't know anybody in our district that could do for that long. Like, students could do a couple of seconds here or there, maybe even a minute, but it's a very time-consuming specialty type of video when you're talking about 3D animation. So that's the main reason.
So I'm glad that you answered that. So the second part of it is that just based on what you just said, I had that as my fourth question, but I'll move it up. The fact that you just mentioned that it's a new medium and it's something that you need to have more talent. I know that we are actually giving $28,000 to get this done. Is there a way that we could actually ask him to incorporate, like we did with E-cadence, maybe some of our students who are interested, to give them that opportunity to work with? I don't know if that's an availability, but that's something to think about.
You want to?
I believe that the gentleman that we got into agreement with, and Mr. Rindell maybe can speak to it a little bit more, he's actually using a third party. That's how specialized it is. So there's actually a third party involved to create the specific animation, while I believe that the gentleman...
The thing is, too, it's very time sensitive. We got to get this thing done. So it's a good question, but I don't think we have the bandwidth at this point or the time.
And just to add to that, again, it kind of underscores the idea of the specialization, because within this group, there's a script, graphics, and then the actual animation itself and editing and putting it all together.
So, let me go through a couple of questions first, and then I'll come back to that one. Is that this will be strictly for AUHSD branded, right?
Correct.
So it will be for us where we're using our stories, and it would have AUHSD banner on it. It would, because the part is we're spending this, I want to make sure that it's for us and it's not going to be circulating anywhere else with the work that we're asking to do.
Well, we actually hope it does circulate with our
No,
band
circulate
on it.
with our, it does, absolutely, that's why we're doing it, but I'm saying is that it will have our branding.
It is going to have our brand.
Because it says that as a tool to be used for our branding, the district.
The question that I had was, I've seen animation done where I went online and I was trying to do something for a project that I'm working on. And there are opportunities to do it where we pay like $9.99 a month, and then we get on the app, and then we tell the story, and then the story actually, they do the everything on the app where we're just giving the script and utilizing the characters. That's only $9.99 a month. So my question to you is, $9.99 a month doing that versus $28,000. I just want to see why the disparity.
Yeah, the value there. So just addressing the time piece, not only the animation, the storyboarding as various subcontractors he's using, the translation is done by voice talent. So we have it being translated with voice talent into our languages here in the district. But the piece, I think on the animation, if you watch Kevin Fleming's videos, they're very direct to the point with powerful animations that drive a point home. And the vision behind this piece is the CPSF, the Career Preparedness Systems Framework. There's a lot to it, and in 4 minutes, we think he can really drive the message home and help our stakeholders understand it that quickly. Perfect. As opposed to the presentations and things that you referenced.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, I have no questions.
Awesome.
Anyone else have a question or a comment?
I just really did some research too on this because I questioned that is a lot of money, but I've had the opportunity to view a lot of that over the summer. And what he does is it's a specialty, and he really will hone in our branding message. So I really recommend that we do this. And of course, it's so time consuming out to try to come up with with all of the script and all of that. So I think all of our staff is, they have a lot to do too. So the expertise and the time consuming and the quality of the work that I saw when I did the research, it's valid. It's a valid expense.
Okay, anything else? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. 9.8, licensing agreement, document tracking services. This is an action item.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. 9.9, school-sponsored student organization.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
We only have one currently considered. That's Oxford Academy Cybersecurity Club. So, any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 9.10, revised board policy 8806, child abuse prevention and reporting, first reading. This is an information item. Any questions or comments? No. Just the sign of the times. We have to have policies for everything. So we'll be catching up. Some of our policies I don't think have been revised for over 20 years. So it's time to update them all. Okay, 9.11, new board policy 6219.01, duty to report all employees, first reading. This
So
is
moved.
All right, no, this is an
That's
information
important.
item also.
I take that back.
Okay, no impact to the budget, just going to be, all reporting of misconduct and investigation and et cetera. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Emily.
All right, we have an action item next, 9.12. This is a memorandum of understanding of scaling student success, community of practice.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, I had some questions on this, but I talked to Mike about it, and I didn't get a chance to reread this. Was this all a new explanation-like thing? Okay, well, you kind of explained it more to me, so I'll hold back on my reservations. And is this what you were going to give in the Friday letter, or are you going to give me more?
That's pretty much the Friday letter, but we do have Amanda Bean, the Director of CPSF Implementation, to give a little more context behind this agreement with and participation in a statewide consortium.
Okay, and when you explain us, Amanda, tell us what outcome do we want from this? In other words, what's the anticipated outcome?
Absolutely. So, so basically, this is a consortium of like-minded school districts that are working together to operationalize processes that authentically evaluate student outcomes. And so for us, that's the 5 C's. And so how do we create the system and the metrics, the key performance indicators for us to demonstrate that students are communicators, collaborators, creative, so on and so on. And so, so that's one piece of it. Also, it's just a time to share promising practices, seeing what's being done up and down the state, work together to just help push each other's thinking and to create those systems. It's also an opportunity for us to introduce the CPSF statewide and to push our mental model around cohesion, around this work of CTE pathways, dual enrollment, the 5 C's, civic action, and to push our model into the more of the the view statewide. And so we get exposure as well as support in developing some of our systems.
Okay. I will say one of the things that threw me and confused me was this utilization of the phrase graduate profile. And I brought that up with Mike, and I'm going, you know, you've made it a lot more clear now what they're trying to do, but this, I guess the graduate profile was what was throwing me, and I'm going,
What is that, right? It's so basically, related to what we see at Savannah High School and the student learning capacities. So Savannah went through their revisioning process and developed the capacities, and then a capstone, which is their execution of things that their community values and wants to demonstrate. That is exactly what a graduate profile is. They're just using a different terminology. So we would relate it to the 5 C's: civic action, leadership, and concepts like that.
Okay. It's not super expensive, and I mean, and like you say, it's a consortium of school districts and all, but it was just at first I'm kind of going, okay.
Yeah,
Got
absolutely, no problem.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay, 9.13. No, we're at 10-point consent calendar. Do I have any requests to pull items?
10.8 W and 10.9.
Anyone else?
Move the balance.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Can I have a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item 10.8.
W.
Wait a minute, let me.
10.8 W.
10.8 W, okay.
And 10.9.
And 10.9.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
All right. Passes. Okay, we are on to, let's see. 11, superintendent and staff report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a quick report regarding the fireworks proceeds that benefits primarily our VAPA and athletics. And as the board might recall, the city of Anaheim supports the 6 AUHSD high schools as well as Canyon and Esperanza. So all 8 high schools within the city of Anaheim with fireworks stands. And our we've been averaging about $25,000 net per school.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's $150,000 that's going to our boosters and VAPA and our athletics program that we did not have before.
That's great.
That is amazing, yeah. I didn't realize it was that much. That's
been
really
rising
good.
it's been rising every year.
Wow, okay. Staff?
No report other than Happy New Year.
All right, happy new year. New school year, yeah.
No report.
No report?
No report.
No report? No report. Okay, Board of Trustees report.
Mr. Colon, he has a
I'm
report.
sorry.
No report.
No report, okay. Well, you're on that side, see, I have to remember that, okay. All right, and then moving up to Mrs. Trejo, do you have a Board of Trustees report?
Okay, there's some activity. It's so exciting to report on things. So I was asked to speak to some realtors that represented the Anaheim community in Orange County, and they were delighted to hear all of the great works that we're doing. And they asked for a repeat, ran out of time because there's so much to tell, and so they want another go at it. So we might bring one of the cabinet members to come in and speak to them. So
Dr. Freed.
Dr. Freed, yes. So it's just really, it was a great opportunity to as a trustee to really talk to folks in the community because they're getting misinformation. You've all seen the great school report on some of the You know, when you look to buy a house on Zillow or whatever those apps are, they have scores, and they're not representative of what all of our schools are doing. And I know, you know, the elementary schools as well as the high schools are really concerned about that, and they were too. And so we did. Go ahead. Dr. Freed, you wanted to speak?
I'm happy to go to the next one to speak, and I know you only get a short amount of time, but I have literature to give to them. They can give to prospective clients. And I was talking with Mrs. Smith earlier about ranks and how they use antiquated data to determine which is not reflective whatsoever of the work that we're doing. It's unfortunate. These sites are very old and have bad and inaccurate information in terms of what we're really doing.
Mm-hmm. And so they were very anxious to hear all of the information, and I did get the little pamphlets hot off the presses to pass out to them. So they asked for another meeting so we can brag and tell them what really is happening in our schools. I listened to the Orange County Department of Ed Liberty and Justice for All colloquium, which featured our distinguished superintendent on ethnic studies, telling what it is, and I really enjoyed that. So thank you for representing the school district and a lot of the other school districts in Orange County. I attended, although it was virtual, it was CSEA conference. It was from Sunday to Thursday, and they have their conference meetings every day. It was from like 9 to 4 or something like that. So it was very interesting to actually, it was my first time as a delegate to represent CSEA. I was happy to do it, and I learned a lot about their advocacy for a lot of the things that came through in the governor's budget. So I'm very proud. In my other life, I work for Anaheim Elementary School District, and I'm a classified employee. So I am a CSEA representative. So I was happy to do that. Attended a CPR training, and this time it was actually in person with GASELPA. And so they had all the staff come and do that, and we learned CPR from a firefighter. And this firefighter's approach was very, very, very simple. Simple. You know how you go through the program and then you wonder afterwards, how in the world can I remember all of this stuff? Well, he really made common sense out of saving folks' lives, and taking us step by step and actually explaining really important things that you think you know about saving someone's life, and you think you know about CPR, but really made it comprehensive. And so I am certified now to save everyone's life here.
All at one time.
I attended our ROP board meeting last night, and they had really fun in-service. They always go all out, ROP does, and this year it was a 70s theme. And so we all had to think back about 70s. Of course, you know, I was a really little tiny child. but they asked us questions about like our favorite TV shows and things like that, and they talked about all of the things that happened in the 70s. But it's their 50th anniversary, so their anniversary is in the 70s. So it was a really fun time. The board members are there for a couple of hours, and then they do their in-service training. Very successful. Attended the white cap ceremony at Magnolia High School, celebrating our cybersecurity partnership with Cypress College, and got to view the campus, part of the campus, the quad at Magnolia, and it's just beautiful. And I know the kids yesterday, when they saw that, had to be just blown away. And I value our partnership with Cypress. I came to the teacher onboarding, and although I had to leave, I didn't get to hear the teacher speeches, but I was there for a few minutes beforehand and greeted some of our eager new hired teachers, and I was really impressed that you guys gave them the same leadership advanced training. So that was pretty cool for them to get that onboarding. And the leadership advance, modeling the behavior that I know was demonstrated yesterday at our opening, and I'm so grateful. I asked for that as a board member to really think and pull back from this idea that there was a learning loss and there was wasted time last year and all the negatives, and for us to focus on a care opening. I mean, our district is just we're so compassionate, and we really, when we say we think about the kids, we really honestly think about the kids, because it's not about the scores. It's not about, we're just talking about the realtor numbers. It's not about that. It's about our health and welfare, and all of that, all of the success comes after that. When you take care of the needs of the students, that will all come for them, and we see that demonstrated tonight with our students. And so I wholeheartedly thank our leadership team for really envisioning that start of the new year with love and concern, not only for our kids but for our staff. So thank you so much for that. And the best for last, as much as I love the grown-ups, I got to meet with the ambassadors and I intended to go in there really quickly. I kind of invited myself into a meeting, but I stayed for a couple of hours. Dr. Cruz was there giving a presentation, but boy, do we have some amazing ambassadors this year. They're going to keep you all on your toes, I promise you. And I want to publicly thank them. They sent me a thank you card, and I think they said, "Oh, you're here." Thank you so much for the lovely card. And the treat on the card. I really appreciate it. But it just goes to show how aware you are of what's happening in our district. And I know you got that onboarding. There was a lot thrown at you, but you were so eager to learn, and boy, did they have some tough questions for Dr. Cruz. I think she was only slated to be there 45 minutes, and it was like almost 2 hours that she stayed there graciously, because the students had question after question for her. And I kind of interrupted and kind of asked, I kind of said, okay, and there she go, gave her kind of an exit strategy, because you would have kept her there another hour. So, but that was a great highlight of my couple of weeks. So thank you for that. And that's my report.
Thank you. Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you. Well, I attended the cybersecurity Whitecap event at Magnolia High School, and seeing the changes that are going on there. But you didn't, did you get back to see the new tennis courts? Ms. Randall Trejo?
I did
You
not.
did? Oh, they're fantastic.
No.
Beside the tennis courts, but also the quad, and it's wasn't quite finished when we had the ceremony, but I'm sure in the very end it's going to be even more fantastic than it was that evening. I attended a couple days of the Leadership Advance, and that was very well put together, and I think the message transcended itself, as Ms. Randall Trejo said, on opening day. I was fortunate. I got to 9 schools yesterday, and I saw in every classroom I went into, and I went into a lot of classrooms, that every teacher was working with the students and getting to know the students, and the students getting to know each other, which is so great. I even heard some teachers said, "Don't worry, we're not going to be hitting you with assignments the first couple weeks. We're going to be getting to know you," and that's a verbatim what they said, and that was nice to hear. The campuses are looking good. The ones that I got onto, I really like the number of shades that are out there. I'm looking forward to seeing the next 9 campuses and see what kind of shades they have there. And I asked some students, I said, how do you like the shades? And a comment they said was, the seats, the black seats are hot. They're too hot to sit on. Direct sunlight just beating down, and I felt it, and I said, oh, I see what you mean. They said, can we paint them white? I said, well, I will take that to the district because white reflects and black absorbs.
Okay, is that the ones with the solar power?
It doesn't make any difference. Some are solar, some are not, but they're still black.
They're all black? Okay.
Still black.
I
So
didn't notice.
that's a request from some students directly sitting on them. But they also like the ability to charge their phones and pads and whatever they had going on there. So overall, it was a great opening. I loved what I saw, and look forward to getting back out in a few days and seeing the rest of the campuses. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Yeah, I visited Anaheim High School. I think, I don't know if I mentioned Gilbert High School last one or not, but I visited Gilbert and then also Sycamore. I think my highlight was Dale Junior High. I got to visit with the superintendent, and man, it looks like a actual campus. And I was actually crowing about it yesterday at the ROP meeting as well, and I offered all the board members an opportunity to tour. One of the Brea board members said, well, maybe I suggested maybe we take a picture and send it to their community and say, this is what you could have if you have a bond. So, so it was interesting, but I am just so happy for the students. I also visited the CVA, which is adjoining, so that was nice to see. I think the one part which I was very elated with is the science classes, where you could actually open up and bring up the tables and the chairs and do work outside. I think that's amazing for our kids. And then my son enrolled in YMCA swimming class. I was so proud to take him to Anaheim High School and him jumping in that pool and taking that first picture. That was awesome to see him enjoy the pool. Community to enjoy the pool. I think it's a great opportunity. I know that they have only few sessions there. I'm sure we're going to build up to open up more sessions in that school. ROP 50th year and the in-service, that was great to see there. And then the ROP meeting yesterday. And then I also stopped by our new teacher recruitment or the presentation for them. I was fortunate enough to say a few words, but I was loving the fact that they were all very excited. And then I was loving the fact that yesterday at Anaheim High School in Sycamore, our students were elated to be on campus, but our teachers, they were so happy. I think Grant mentioned it during his remarks, but truly the teachers were so happy to be back on campus and doing what they love doing, right? So that was nice to see that, and nice to see you, Brad, and then Renee, our PIO extraordinaire who actually takes pictures at every event. She does a great job of actually talking about all our programs, so thank you for doing that. I know you do that besides what we do at PIO. And I'm so glad to hear that the fundraising efforts for our boosters are working out really well. I know I spoke to our Anaheim booster president who ran the booth, and he did mention that they did very well than any other years that they've had. Maybe it's the COVID effect, but hey, welcome for AUHSD, right? So it's nice to see that they have 25K averaging. But if I could get a breakdown of how Anaheim High School divvied up their funds through boosters, I'd like to have that breakdown. Thank you.
I don't have a lot to report. I've received calls from some parents whose children have started into our system and some who have been here, and they just were elated about the condition of the schools, the kids, how happy they were to be on campus, happy with the response, the openness of the teachers and the principals, and it was very gratifying to hear that. And I happened to have, was able to view the Orange County Department of Education 3-hour meeting they had several weeks ago on critical race theory. And the first part of it was people could come and speak to the board, as they do here, and I could understand everything each one said. And I thought that the community people spoke eloquently, and it was understandable where their feelings were coming from, what they think is going on. And then when it came to the 5 panelists, the system, I just don't think it was operating, or it wasn't set up well, but I couldn't understand what the panelists said. And it was very frustrating because they were giving us, the viewer, the listeners, what their opinions were from their professional work life. So I was very dissatisfied, the fact that we were put to that for 3 hours and with no understanding fully of what was going on. So they've said that there's going to be a second meeting, I think it's the 23rd of this month, or 28th. And I'm going to try and see that too, because this is an issue I think that's elevating in this country, and it's not fully understood. And I think it's being confused in people's minds what they think is being taught in this nation about these issues related to critical race theory and what we are teaching in our schools, which is ethnic studies. When I came on the board, I think I'm telling you this accurately, 24 years ago, I was given information about all the different related items to this school district. And when it came to languages, it said we had 72 languages. And Dr. Billings was our superintendent at the time, and a wonderful woman, and I called her. And I couldn't believe that. So in a period of time, I would say maybe a few years, those languages were rethought. And they changed the number for our school district to 55. And I happened to be in a closed session with the board over at the Tiger Woods Center, and our purpose was to select a new superintendent. So in the closed session, when it was just the board, I made the comment about all these languages. And there was a state superintendent, I believe in South Carolina or Georgia, who was speaking related to that on CNN. And she was saying how across the nation they had to revise the languages that were taught, because I think it's so unsettling to people at large. How does education deal with this issue? So it's changed over the years. I've seen so many changes, and I think it's always something that we have to deal with because we're dealing with human beings. And our community is very, very diverse and with so many different people from all over the world. I live in West Anaheim, which would take in Savannah and Dale, Brookhurst, and Magnolia. And just in my community alone, I've known throughout the decades that I've lived here, I've known so many people that have come here from vast areas around the planet. And it's made our community wonderful, and we all get along. So the other issue, I just wanted to say that when we get reports from the superintendent and the district about different items related to our schools, we are getting the updates of what is going on with the bond. and what Patty Neely is accomplishing with her team, it just takes my breath away. What that gal and those people have managed to do. And when I came on this board, I told the superintendent then I did not want my kids to go to school in this school district because the schools were in such terrible condition. I walked over at Magnolia and I said no. And then I walked to Savannah, I said no. And I could have put my kids into Loera, but I just thought, no, they're not going to go in this district. Today, I would put my children in this district. What Mike and his team have done, all I can tell you is I care deeply and love these people because they are ethical, hardworking, concerned Americans. And it's the essence of what makes us a country. And I just want to say to all of you that are sitting out here, thank you for what you do, because I have seen the changes and they've gone from here, from down here up there. So, end of speech.
Okay. Okay, the year is revving up. I attended the Orange County Department of Ed's Ethnic Studies Colloquium also. It was very interesting. That was a Zoom program. I went to the White Cap ceremony at Magnolia, and that was delightful to see the campus and what these kids have accomplished in the 4 or 5 years we've had our cybersecurity program going. We had a young man, 2 young men who came back who are already working in cybersecurity and making good salaries with just a high school education and certificates earned. I went to the week of welcome for the new teachers and counselors and whatever, and I counted 126 because we had to add chairs and tables on the side of the thing. That was really well done, and it was like I had the opportunity to speak to them. I said, when I started many moons ago teaching, we didn't have week of welcome. They gave me my keys and said, good luck. It's a different world. Okay. That was really good. It was fun to meet a number of the new teachers and what have you, and I ran into another one I met at the week of welcome just coming in here because he's a teacher at South, and when I was coming in for the board meeting. It's just really nice. And then I went to the opening, I attended the opening of Schools Task Force, which, we have all these teachers that spend time every couple of weeks working together on issues that are a daily concern for a lot of teachers. I also went to the Leadership Advance, and I participated in that, and that was interesting. And I tried not to give too much of my opinion, but every time I ended up giving it anyway. I was trying to be just there to observe what the, principals and assistant principals were doing, but, yeah, they got me. Okay. Then I went to an ambassadors meeting. The ambassadors were meeting that same week as Week of Welcome, and what a group of great kids. Of course I helped pick them, but that's because we have them. I spent an entire day, Saturday from 8 to 5, interviewing these kids, which was great. And I was at the river doing it, so I couldn't even go outside. I had to stay inside. But I enjoyed it because it's a great opportunity to meet some absolutely superb kids. Oh, great bunch of kids. And they got me talking, and I gave them a little bit of history about the district. So. And then I attended a pancake breakfast at Cypress High School the first day of the teachers back to school. That was fun. I got to see a lot of the teachers and say hi and give them pancakes. I'm in the Cypress Kiwanis, so they had Cypress Kiwanis come and serve breakfast for the teachers. It was really nice because they were able to meet outside in the quad. There's all these seats now and shade, and so they had their initial meeting out there, so they didn't have to wear masks and they could eat breakfast. Then I went to the Lexington 7th grade orientation. That was on Tuesday of this week. And they did a really good program with the kids. They had them meet in the gymnasium, and then they split them up into 2 groups and had one group playing games while the other group went around the campus being led by ASB students. And that was, it was interesting. And then I went around and talked to a few of the teachers and got to see some of the classrooms. And then Cyprus, I went to visit Cyprus yesterday. Oh my heavens, I was amazed. I hit it at lunchtime. Oh, a sea of kids. Oh, it was great though. I loved being in the middle of all these kids and walking around. It was just, and they were playing music, and you know, they had a thing going, and it was really a nicely themed, but it was just amazing how many kids are there. They got almost 3,000 kids there. And we were talking about that, and it's sort of like, okay, nobody eats inside, right? What do we do if it rains? Slim chance, but you know, as we get into winter time, you know, let's hope we can relax that and no eating inside, you know, because it might pose a problem. Okay. I visited Oxford. Okay. Okay, and then I have a conundrum with that parking in the front. Okay. I was flabbergasted because I went to pull up in front and it's all red. It says buses only and drop off. Oh, okay, so then I went around back and I'm going, well, how do I get in? This is the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Okay? It's very difficult. But I did find the one gate in the very back by the gym that had the pass so I could get in. The side doesn't have it. Okay. But then I walked in through the campus and I'm going to go to the main office. And there's no main office door. The sign says this way. So I'm finding the sign and it just leads me to leave. And I'm going, okay. So then I tried the workroom door. It didn't open. Then I tried the second workroom door and it opened. So then I went in that way. And I'm going, how are you supposed to get into this school? Okay, so I talked to the ladies in the office and I talked. But I come to find out, I guess part of the reason we can't park or have any green, momentary parking is the fire department, I guess, says they need the whole space in case. So it's not wide enough for parking. But a lot of the parents don't pay attention to that because that's how you get into the main office. But, I mean, I was ready to bring it up and say, we've got to do something about that. But I already talked to Patty Neely about changing that in the front. She told me it cost $1 million to get back to the parking we had before it was torn out and put grass in. And I mean, we're going to have to face this thing about all that grass that does nothing, okay? When it comes time to talk about water conservation, whatever, we need to go back to concrete and parking. And there's not a lot of parking at that. So that's something for the future, for another bond. We'll get a better parking situation. Okay, so much for that. And then, the robotics room. Beautiful. Now, evidently, they've had some problems because of COVID got interfered, and they've got all that equipment sitting in there that has to be put together. And it has to be done by the company that they bought it from, or another company that has the technological knowledge. It's nothing our guys can do. So I was talking to the teacher, and he said, with what happened with COVID and then, lack of people, coming out. So that's an issue we may have to look into because it's going to cost them extra to have that equipment for the robotics put together. It's still in boxes in there. But that's a great facility.
We have $68 million.
Yeah, 68 million? Oof. It is super, really nice, and I love the bench out in front that's made out of the wood. That is super. And they got a lot of new, that's the other thing. The old benches, lunch benches, the tables, they're sitting in a pile at the East End. And they haven't been picked up yet. So we got to get a fire on that one, get them, so. And then my last visit was this morning. I went to Lexington for coffee with the principal. Danny did a good job of going over everything with the parents that were there, and then they had about another 100 online. plus what they had in the auditorium, I mean, the multipurpose room. And then I took the time after his coffee, I went around and introduced myself to about 8 new teachers and counselors and what have you, because there are a number of them there that I had not had the opportunity to meet that are new since the time I was there. And a little bit of it was personal because I wanted to get to meet some of the teachers my grandson would have. So, because I have warned him I'm going to be around, you know, so. You know, I warned him, if I know your teacher, they know me. They're not going to be upset if I want to sit in their classroom because they know me as Anna, not as a board member. So, but it was, I have to tell you this, it was cute. Oh, this new teacher, Leo Ramirez, is teaching social studies at Lexington. It's his first year here in the district. But I was impressed because I was standing outside of another teacher's room waiting for the bell to ring. And he brought his class out and he was getting them lined up to take a picture. And he knew all their names already. And I'm going, I was amazed because he's saying, come over here, you know. So then I was really amazed. And I said, that is really neat. I said, it didn't take you any time at all to learn these kids' names. He said, well, he'd had them fill out cards. And he said he tried to remember. He said, but he was having trouble on pronouncing some of them. But I was impressed. That was really neat. And then he got them out there and he wanted to take a picture. And then he was going to share the picture with them the next day. So I thought that was pretty neat. But then I did, I stayed talking with him, and it was quite interesting. And then my grandson was supposed to be next door. And I thought he'd run away from me, but he didn't. He saw me standing in the classroom, and he stopped at the doorway, and he just kind of gave me a grin, and I went, oh! I had to go over and hug him and kiss him. And that's, all right. Hey, sweetheart.
Embarrass him.
Oh, let me tell you, I'm letting them know, you better do good, because Grandma's going to be around. Oh. So anyway, that was my day at Lexington this morning. And then, did I go to another school? Lexington and Oxford. That was it today. I was going to try to make it to Orangeview, but I was tired. But it doesn't, I'm sorry, there's no way I can make 9 schools in a day. I talk too much. I cannot go to Lexington without talking at least 2 hours or 3.
My goodness.
Well, would you please let our teachers teach?
Oh, no, I'm not interfering with the teachers. Come on. Not unless they're on conference. Okay. Then I'm talking to them. No. Come on, I got to get to know everybody. So that was it. Okay. Moving on, enough of that. We're on to item 13, advanced planning, future meeting dates. We will be meeting again on Tuesday, September 14th at 6 p.m. Now, I just noticed that Tuesday, do we know why we're meeting Tuesday?
Yes, the unaudited actuals has to be presented to the board by September 15th of the year. So we'll be bringing the unaudited actuals for approval on the 14th.
Okay, because of the audit actuals.
Yes,
okay, very good.
Thank you.
All righty, so that will be our next meeting. Any suggested agenda items?
Just a question about when are we slated for an update on mental health? Do you have an idea?
Well, we had Adela present, I think it was 2 months ago. We can have her present again if you'd like.
Just maybe just if it's
Or
just
you
an
wanna
update or,
update?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just,
What particular would you want? Because
How about a Friday update?
yeah, that's fine.
Friday update.
was there, what particular information do you want?
It's pretty broad.
Maybe the actual numbers of students that we serviced, during the summer and beyond, during the pandemic. I don't remember, I'm sorry if that was presented, but I don't remember that being presented.
Okay, well, a Friday update, and if you think of specifically what you want, have them know, okay? All right, anything else? Seeing none, we will, I have a motion for?
Yep, you got it.
Second.
Motion and a second for all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will adjourn at 8:46.